Let's get my tweet ready.
Right. I believe we are. Wait for it. We're live. Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. We're back 2 weeks in a row on the videos, and we've got Cheltenham on the weekend. We had some great action. Envoy Allen winning, Frodon winning last weekend, and now we've got a 3-day November meeting, Harry, haven't we? It's going to be great to be back at the homeland.
No, we're going back home, Ash. I can't wait. Heading down Friday, which is always good to see. Maybe Saturday, I'm not too sure. But I just can't wait to see Cool Cody again. He's bound to be bopping back out again. I don't know what race he's coming in, but he'll be there.
I think one of my favourite stats is that he went to every Cheltenham meeting last season. He did all the way from October to April. I think that's fantastic. And he picked up a festival winner as well. So he's a brilliant horse. Lee, we've got cool Cody, as Harry said there. We've got plenty more horses coming out in the big races. It's surely going to be a cracking couple of days at Cheltenham.
Yeah, even though you live in Cheltenham, I think Cool Cody went more than you, to be fair. It looks like it's some good cards. I enjoy the trails going forward. Obviously, this meeting kind of kicks it off, and there's some cracking racing across the 3 days. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
First of all, we'll do a bit of housekeeping. So we are going for weekly videos, and they will be live streamed onto YouTube and Twitter, our Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel and our Twitter pages. I apologise for the unique angle. I've spent the last 20 minutes trying to sort out my camera and audio. Lee and Harry have had the pleasure of watching me run around this university classroom behind me, but I am on my phone, so I apologise if you can see four chins on my face.
We'll see every angle of you there.
Oh, every angle, every brilliant angle, obviously. So yeah, as I said, we're going to be doing this weekly. We've got some previews to go for Cheltenham. We're going to try and do some review videos as well going forward on a different day. We'll get stuck in, gentlemen. We're going to be covering 5 races, and the first one is the feature on the Friday. It's the Grade 2 2-mile 5 Ballymore Novices Chase. Let me just get some prices up for you here. It's going to be a cracker. It was won by Blazing Carl last year for Charles Burns, and Hermes Allen for Paul Nicholls tops the market in there at 2-1. We've all been caught. Nigel Twiston-Davis, Sam Twiston-Davis getting the ride. Music Drive. I'm sure Harry want to go there a little bit in a second. 7s into 4, and I'll go to you first, Harry. I know it's a horse you like just through the season, and it's one that you're looking at for this weekend. Does the price put you off now, seeing that little bit of market movement?
Oh, well, it has, because, I mean, as I was doing my notes, he was actually 7-1, and 7-1 is an appealing price. But when you see 4-1, you feel a little bit sick that you haven't had a penny on. But no, listen, I was just touching on this horse. I was really impressed. I think that form behind Mufasa is going to be strong form lines, because I do actually really like that horse. Won at Uttoxeter on debut, a racetrack I love, and I think Uttoxeter, to be fair, are getting a better caliber of horses than what they used to be getting. I mean, you've seen horses come out there. I mean, Colonel Harry was behind Mufasa that day on hurdling debut, and that horse came out at sundown and fairly bolted up the hill the other day, if I remember rightly. I can't remember what day it was, but it was an impressive performance. Mufasa obviously went on to Cheltenham. He won that race. He made an absolute hash of the last, but battled on really gamely to beat the Wounded Knee. Music Drive, he was one of the last off the bridle, and at Cheltenham, that's a really key thing. You need horses that travel well, and that course experience could pay dividends on Friday. So that money could be down. Could be wise. It could be a wise thing that it's down. So I'm hoping that Music Drive gets the job done. But I'll throw a stat whenever when Lee makes his case, I'll throw an interesting stat to throw the spanners in the works, maybe, but I hope not.
He's got a very interesting stat indeed. Not one I'd be hanging my hat on, but it's definitely one that I'm not sure many people will be picking up on. Lee, we've got Paul Nicholls running at the top of the market here, 2-1. Hermes Allen. We saw this last year. Gelino Bello, who recently won over fences, he was favourite and got beaten by the Irish Raider Charles Burns' charge in Blazing Carl. This horse only been seen once over hurdles. Do you think that inexperience coming into this race is an issue, or would you be looking at 2-1 and thinking this is a very progressive horse for Paul Nicholls?
Coming from Paul Nicholls, I don't think that inexperience would matter. He'll have it trained well, and it bolted up the last day. It's just a bit too short for me. I did come down on Music Drive. I had a look last night, 7s. It's still 5s with certain firms I'll not mention, but it's still 5s in places. 4s is a bit skinny, but I thought 7s was a good price. Last time we ran a cracking race, like Harry said, me and Harry actually backed Mufasa, the winner there that day. It travelled well, Music Drive. It actually made a hash of the last as well, the same as Mufasa. I actually thought it was going to come and take the winner that day, but travelled well. It's up an extra furlong. I think that will help. Stayed on well to the line, and I think this extra furlong, it's obviously a Ballymore race, 2 mile 5 for the Grade 2. I just think that extra furlong and the experience from the last day was standing in good stead, and Music Drive's definitely the one for me.
I have to ask you, gents, and I had this wrote down in my notes. I went through the whole field, and I tried to put a note in for most of the horses, and I got down to Music Drive, and I kept it quite simple. I thought this horse just wants 3 miles. Like, you look at that Cheltenham run, I know Gordon's a bit of a man to send them for a spin and then have a longer term target for that horse. So this could be, obviously, and the money's coming for it, this could be the target for him. It looks like it at the moment. But I had this horse down as a 3 miler. Like, this is 2 mile 5. It's a staying trip. But, you know, Harry, do you really think he can sort of do it at this level, or do you think he might need that extra distance?
Well, he won his point to point over 3 miles, so you can clearly see the case for the extra distance. But I think at this point in this horse's career, I think the extra step up, only a little bit as well. It's only a furlong, and I think he was nearest to the finish than what he'd ever be. Yeah. If anything, he got a little bit slightly outpaced turning into the bend. I think he made a hash of one of the 2 hurdles down, either the second last or the last, in fact. But as I said, he was one of the last off the bridle, and he did stay on really well up the hill. And
look, you need to stay 3 mile at Cheltenham anyway in these type of races, so you need to stay further. So I think Cheltenham's probably the right course if you're going to stay further. The 2 mile 5, I think, will suit.
Yeah, and they went to good clip as well last time. They went a really good clip. If I remember, I think Sam Twiston's horse went off like a scolded cat in front, and he just couldn't pull on, and it made the pace of the race a genuine, honest one. So I thought it was a really nice run on good ground as well. I don't think it will be good ground again. So I thought it was a really good performance last time.
Before I get to my selection, lads, I went through the field, and you know the top 2 in the market is quite inexperienced. The We've All Been Caught hasn't even seen a hurdle yet, and that's 5-2. Hermes Allen won a egg and spoon last time out. You know, so it's quite short price to be taken about the top 2. You know, I was quite inclined to go elsewhere. Did you sort of agree with that in your study going into the race?
But I think that Hermes Allen could only do what it done the last day. So it's I think, I don't know, it was 27 length or something mad. It can only do what it like it's put in front of it, kind of thing. So I do think it'll go close. If Music Drive wasn't in, I would take the favourite, because Paul Nicholls is obviously firing on all cylinders. And Harry Cobden was actually jocked up, I think, on Monday or something mad. There was nobody else jocked up in the race, and I seen Harry Cobden was already on that one. They did have Outlaw Peter down in the same colours, but he won it on Friday at Exeter. So so they had 2 in the race. They've chose to take Outlaw Peter to Exeter and put this lad in here. So they must think a lot of him.
Yeah, no, this early stage, I saw that as well, Outlaw Peter. Nice horse, but I don't think he's going to be going to this race. This early stage, I fancy 2. Obviously, the point of these videos, we just have a little early look and we finalise our selections for the Saturday lives on Twitter, 10:30 a.m. I'll give you my each way horse first of all at the moment. It's actually a horse that, Harry, I'm sure you've done a little bit of researching on, whereas a collector's item for John Joe O'Neill, where you'll have to ignore my angle here while I look at my notes on this computer. But this horse was second to We've All Been Caught in a bumper, Newbury, in March on soft, reappeared at Chepstow in October and comfortably beat Hugo's new horse for Paul Nicholls. That horse went and won at very short odds at Wincanton the other day. This horse here, collector's item, won that day doing handstands. He's a Fleming's Firth out of a Fram mare, so the dad's side would say he'd be fine on good to soft. This current stage is good to soft at Cheltenham. The RPRs were fairly low, so that's sort of representing the price, but I wouldn't put anyone off collector's item. But I landed on Quid Pro Quo at this early stage. Dan Skelton's runner ran behind Outlaw Peter in the Great at Chepstow, won by that Fergal horse. Anyone? What race?
Well, is the Persian Wall, isn't it? So
Wall.
Accidental rebel.
Yeah, no, I thought this horse would come on massively for the run. He looked a little bit sort of big in the parade ring. The market reflected that he was favourite, and then it ended up being the horses here, Present and Counting, that one off as the favourite. So I think he'll definitely come on for the run. I think Saturday, Friday will be the day for him. I think 6-1 quid pro quo. I think it's a nice horse for the Skeltons. So I'd be looking at them too at these early stages at the prices. That's the first day cover. It's only the 6th race on the Friday. And we'll move on to the Arkle trial, gentlemen. It was won by Third Time Lucky last year. Let me just get some prices up for you. Third Time Lucky goes for the Shloer chase on the Sunday, obviously. Where are we now? Arkle chase. Has anyone got... Hang on, there it is. The joy of doing things live is you lose everything. Monmoral, evens favourite for Paul Nicholls. Tommy's Oscar and Hamilton's champion hurdle horse last year at 7-4. And Pentland Hills, who is a successor over Fences, but obviously hasn't ran yet because that was a one-runner race. Harry, it looks between sort of top of the market at the moment where the betting's representing that. Is that what you sort of gathered as well in your thoughts?
Yeah, you could say so. I mean, Pentland Hills and Glory and Fortune and Banbridge, they've all got course form, which I think is a key thing, obviously, around Cheltenham, especially with these novices as well. It could pay dividends. But Tommy's Oscar, I thought that was really impressive last time at Carlisle. Yes, it was on good ground. First time out, was given an absolute shed load of weight to a good yardstick of the Donald McCain. Yeah, a good yardstick. I mean, I think that horse was absolutely flying throughout the summer, winning races left, right, and centre, and picked up a lot of prize money. Monmorale's in there, really nice horse. I think obviously that all you got to do is go back to that entry run. Beat Adagio by 7.5 lengths. Obviously, it's really sad what that horse has obviously passed away now since, but that horse could have been anything. Adagio, I thought he was a really smart horse on his day. Beating Nassalam as well. Nassalam, obviously, I think he's a nice little yardstick for the Gary Moore team as well. But Monmorale's is short, 5-4. I think it is short.
And Harry, I want to jump in here because Monmorale hasn't won since he was a juvenile. Obviously, last year when I ever heard of, we always see these juveniles going badly when they go up into open company. He's now come over a fence and he's the evens favourite. Would that put you off a little bit?
Not so, because I do think that Newcastle in the fighting fifth, I think Paul Nicholls came out and said that the horse wasn't.
He was lame.
Right after, he was lame, yeah. So that wouldn't. I think you could just put a line through that whole kind of calendar, those 3 runs. And listen, if this horse gets back to his best, Fences could be the making. And 149, you can quite easily see that horse's rating going miles up. I think this horse could be a really, really solid Grade 1 performer. So Monmorale looks the clear pick at 5-4. Obviously, the bookies have got him priced up right. But listen, there's some interesting ones here, and I wouldn't be taking 5-4 AntePost, I'll tell you that.
Tommy's Oscar, Lee, lovely horse, a horse that I think a lot of people like. And he touched his fences really well last time out. Care to expand on his chances for the race?
Yeah, look, won well the last time and actually jumped well. It was only a 2-runner race, but against Donald McCain's Geronimo, like Harry said, had been mopping up some races before that. Had to give a lot of weight and done what needed to do. But like I say, only 2-runner race. I wouldn't be so keen. Didn't really handle the champion hurdle. That was too hot for him. And then, look, I looked at it as Monmorale beat a few of these. Glory and Fortune was down to run. Is he still down to run, Ash?
Yeah, he still entered.
Yeah, so just, I thought it was between them two. I thought they were more classy ones. I don't know how we would assess who was the best over hurdles, to be honest. Glory and Fortune, second in the Christmas hurdle, won the Betfair hurdle.
Yeah.
And obviously ran some solid races. Fourth in the champion, Welsh champion hurdle there the last day, gave a lot of weight. Econoc Fizz, who won the race, coming ran second there, Cheltenham the last day. So ran some solid races last season, Glory and Fortune. But in the entry hurdle behind Epatont, Monmorale actually beat Glory and Fortune by 10 lengths that day. Obviously Zanahia come down and Monmorale would have been, maybe third at best, but still ran a solid race. And like Harry says, he was lame in the fighting fifth. So I just think he's made to be a chaser. I do think he wants 2 miles. They've tried a few trips, but I do think he wants 2 miles. And I think Paul Nicholls will have him primed for this meeting. So I would take Monmorale.
I have to expand on Glory and Fortune here because I initially liked this horse, and I really like this horse over hurdles. But he went twice over chase fences back in 2020 now as a 5-year-old. Really hated them, kept looking at his fences, took short steps into each one. Look, he was a 5-year-old. He's matured now into a 7-year-old, so he could be saying that the horse is matured. They'll appreciate the fence a bit more. But on that knowledge, I was happy to leave him. I thought one that was really interesting, and it's annoying because I don't think he's going to go because he's double entered. It's Ganapathy. He's actually treble entered, but he is jocked up for the Shloer chase.
He's a race for this race, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 25-1. He's 66-1, right, for the Shloer chase on a Sunday. I was thinking, he's not going to go there. But Gavin Sheehan's already jocked up, so that probably means he's going to go there. I'll still make the case for him because if he does go here, if he's an intended runner, I really like his chances. I don't know what the British handicap is going to give him. Over hurdles, he's 140 in Ireland. He's now actually based with Patrick Neville. He's actually in the UK, so that might be in North Yorkshire, so that might be 140 over fences. But when he was in Ireland, he was second to Drill Deal as a 5-year-old in the Grade 2 Moscow Flyer. Finished the season by falling in the champion novice hurdle at Punchestown. At the Punchestown Festival, where Gaillard de Mesnil won. He's a 156 chaser. This horse was going to probably finish second, if not give his stablemate a little bit of a challenge there. So it's quite interesting, that rating. Ashdale Bob was in behind in third. That was a 152 rated hurdler. Fast forward to this season, he went 2 for 2 over fences in the summer. Beat Ashtree Meadow, ran at Cheltenham the other day. Beat a horse at JP McManus, quickened up really well over 2 miles to get the job done. Went on to beat Effenot Fizz. As Lee just sort of mentioned, that horse there by 9 lengths over 2.5 miles. That horse is rated 112. It doesn't read that well, but that ran a fantastic race with a mark of 133 in that handicap behind Dad's Lads at Cheltenham. And then he ran over 2 mile 2 in a Grade 3 at Galway, and then 2 mile 4 in another race in August. Just don't think he stayed. And I think 2 miles is really his distance. If you win it, 25-1 is a massive price for a really good ex-Willie Mullins, ex-Donnelly horse. I think Ganapathy would run a massive race here, but it's interesting to see he's dropped up for the Shloer chase. Unfortunately, that's where I landed on. Then I saw that, so I haven't really got a strong opinion.
Would you say any of these will be Arkle contenders come March?
Oh no, I can't even remember the last horse that won this race that actually went on to do anything in the Arkle. Third time, like, he didn't even turn up last year, did he? Or he finished? Yeah, he didn't even turn up. So I can't remember. This is
you've got to put the kettle on.
There you are.
Eldorado Allen in 2020.
That's probably straight back down. Put the kettle on an Arkle winner.
No, but Eldorado Allen ran well. I think was that horse second in.
They also won the Denver.
Yeah, Shishkin.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be the one.
Harry.
So
that was it. Yeah.
Interesting race. I think we covered the Arkle trial there, gents. We'll move on to one of the highlight races of the season. I really love this race. The Paddy Power Gold Cup. French Dynamite tops the market in there at 5-1 for Mouse Morris. Go Allure, Jamie Snowden, 6-1. Stolen Silver, 7s. Iridoto, 10s. Lovely little betting heats here. 21 currently entered. Maximum 20 can go to the field. Lee, it's a really nice horse, the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Everyone loves it. It was won last year by the late Midnight Shadow. Cool Cody fell at second last. So it's got some nice history. It's had some nice races, and it should really be a good watch.
It's a cracking race, and like some great roll of honour down the years there. Should be a good watch. But I had come on that J-Lo.
I think it's Gallo,
sorry. Gallo, yeah. But Jamie Snowden actually got a 25% strike rate at the minute. 11 stone, it's not too bad. And had one on heavy in France, so a little bit of cut wouldn't be too bad for the horse, but I think it does want better ground. Jamie Snowden said the last day it was a prep run for the Paddy Power, and he has not missed the beat since, so it's good for that horse. Had one hurdle run with Jamie Snowden, went straight chasing, bolted up by 7 lengths, beating Getaway Trump, then won a handicap by nearly 10 lengths, won the Rising Star Grade 2 at Wincanton by 22 lengths, and then ran third behind All Mankind and Hitman in the Henry VIII at Sandown. I just think it's got some great form. Was second in the Pendle, but then had a long time between drinks, and then come and ran third in the old Roan Chase the last day. Riders on the Storm won the race. Hitman was second. It was only beaten 1.5 length, and it's off the same mark as that last day. So I just think it's got a few pounds in hand. 7-1, I think I seen. You just mentioned sixes. That's maybe is a bit short for a race like this, but I do like the horse, and I just think he's got a couple of pounds in hand of his mark. So Gallo maybe is for me.
The only plug I can give is the one time I'm going to mention Tony Cow, because you just mentioned a horse there. Riders on the Storm obviously won the Old Roan. Same owners have got 5-star getaway out at Bangor tomorrow. Nelson Rivers making his seasonal debut for Tony Carroll. Oi, oi, the Nelson. 4th in a Triumph Hurdle behind Pentland Hills. Can't wait to see him back out on the track. I'll get the plug done out the way. Harry, expand a bit more on Cool Cody. The owner, Wayne Clifford, thinks he's too high in the handicap, or he was on the last day. I tend to agree, really, there. He's surely too high off a mark of 151 to be winning a race like this.
You got to remember, Ash, that race was pipe opener last time. It was an over hurdles in that tricky little race. I can't remember what the name of the race was, but listen, he was beating 34 lengths. But I mean, you're
not going to put him up high, you know. You're not going to go.
No, I'm not. But I think he is primed for March. It's just simple as that. His handicap mark will be down. He was off 1-4. Well, I can't think. He's off 1-4-5 when he won at the festival. He's off 1-5-1. Getting down £6 in the handicap isn't going to be a major issue for this horse. If he's beaten quite far out, he can enjoy himself out in the front end. I think Evan Williams would have liked to have been in better form. I think he's only had one runner from about 25 in November. But just a quick one as well. Fontaine Calange would have been an interesting runner for me. But Venetia Williams, it's been a long time since she had a winner. I think if I'm right in saying it's been 200 days exactly.
Yeah, but I think with Venetia, she only just gets going now.
Yeah,
she's not a summer trainer.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
I'm clear. Well, I think it's clear to see why. Don't get me wrong, she'll be picking up.
She trains them in mud. She trains them through the mud.
Literally, I was going to say that usually they come through the bog. You just see Charlie Deutsch coming out with his silks,
pulling double, things for second last.
Yeah, precisely. It's an interesting one for me. It's Happy Go Lucky. Obviously, ran in the Ultimar. Was it in the Ultimar, I believe?
Yeah,
in 2021. Second by Vintage Clouds that day. That horse has only not been seen since April 21. So he's had a long time off. But Kim Bailey has started well. One that I am interested in is Editor Digit for Gary Moore. Now this horse won the race last year. He is a lot higher in the handicap. But listen, course form is everything, as I've already mentioned, and this horse just loves it. So
Harry, I'm going to put you on the spot here about this SSG. It was the 3-1 AntePost favourite for the horse for the race that Daz Ladd won last time out. The bookies couldn't give him away. He basically lost a leg on the way to the race, or it seemed like it in the market. Just a bit expanding on that. That usually means that a horse isn't going to make the running, because if it's making the running, they can get short odds in running and they'll sell it off. The punters will sell it off. This horse drifted from 3s to 8s, and there was little to no sort of coverage on the TV about it. Do you think maybe this is a real road question? I'm putting you on the spot. Do you think maybe TV should sort of program a bit more on the betting side of things, especially when horses drift like that?
Well, if you all you got to do is go back to Barney Curley, because if you remember Barney Curley and the late John McCreary and Luke Harvey, they had a massive argument about probably one of the most famous interviews on At the Races, because I think one of his horses, if I'm right in saying so, that he was introduced in, one of his horses drifted right out and then finished pulled up, I think. And it don't get me wrong, it's not a good look. It isn't a good look, but it happens every day. Horses drift out from odds on to, I don't know, 2-1, 3-1, and they just don't perform. Editor G was the exact same. It could be a coincidence, but no, listen, this horse usually goes from the front, usually jumps well. And yeah, it did look like he lost a leg, but hopefully, listen, he's overpriced at 16-1. If he gets back to his form, he's massively overpriced. Even carrying 11-11, he is overpriced. So Editor G is one that I am interested in, but I am hoping Cool Cody runs well.
I agree with one of the horses you mentioned there, Fontaine Calange. I'm sort of hoping conditions stay a bit softer. It was just chucking it down the other day. I can give you live weather reports. It's been wet all weekend. It was just chucking down the last hour. But yeah, this horse will like it a bit softer. One on good to soft, also one on heavy, and hasn't got the best first time out record in the world. But I think this horse is maybe one of the lesser exposed horses in this lineup. Dancing off a mark of 122 at Lingfield on heavy in January. That was the last time we've seen the horse. That was given a £10 rise that day, but Charlie Deutsch barely moved on him. So I could really see him going well. If conditions stay good to soft, that shouldn't be any issue. But Fontaine Collonges, I'd be interested in the machine as well. Run a nice race. And it's going to be weird for me saying run a nice race when 31 lengths fifth. But this is in the Ladbrokes Chase that Cloudy Glen won last year, where it was that horse and Fiddle on the Roof. They skated away, and Bram Bull finished third, 28 lengths behind. He made a really nice race that day. I think he jumped the third last a bit wrong, and it all went wrong from there. But he travelled really nicely into the race, and off a mark of 140, I could see the machine going well for Kerry Lee. So that's the Paddy Park. Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to quickly mention Stolen Silver, who has a good record around here. Second to Chantry House, neck behind that Edgar Digi. 10 lengths back to the third that day. Was fourth to Cool Cody at the festival, and then was 11 lengths. Won by 11 lengths. Absolutely bolted up. Was only £7 higher this time round. Cool Cody was actually third that day. That was after the festival. That was in April. So I think Stolen Silver maybe it's still got a good mark. I know it's went up £7, but I still think it's got a good run in him.
Yeah, there's a few interesting horses you mentioned there. We'll move on to the Shloer, gentlemen, the Grade 2 Shloer. Always love this race as well. A lot of races I like at the November meeting. I wonder why. I have to cover this, and I want to start with this one because the market says Edwardstone is a 4-5 favourite, and Nube Negra is in there at 6-4. I think that is completely wrong. Am I wrong in saying that? Edwardstone has never done it in open company. He was a novice last season. All he was doing last season, I say all he was doing, he won the Arkle, but what he was doing last season was battering Third Time Lucky. He was smashing up Do Your Job and Warlord, who are lovely horses. They're nothing on the level that Nube Negra was running with last year. Nube Negra won this race, absolutely danced up. His first time out records is incredible, and he's technically £2 better off at the weights. I don't know about you, Lee, but I can see this market. I'm not going to have a bet on either of them at this current stage. I probably won't have a bet on either of them by the day, but I've got this market completely wrong in my head.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I thought it would be the other way around. Last season's race, though, did bolt up, but it beat Politlog, who was kind of on his way out. Put the kettle on, didn't perform. I think Rouge Brave was in there, beaten a long way. Wasn't maybe the strongest race. I think Edwardstone is more of a challenge this season. Obviously, the Arkle winner, second to Gentleman to me at Aintree. Solid horse. I actually backed him for the Arkle. And yeah, I just think he was, obviously mopped up them races, but they weren't as strong as the races Nube Negra had been running, like you said. I would have the market the other way around. I would take Nube Negra at the prices. The only thing is, and I think it's all about the ground. So I did ask you before, and it was about this race, to be fair. I want to know like how much juice is getting in the ground. Nube Negra was probably, it definitely wants better ground, and Edwardstone would handle any ground, especially soft. So I just think the prices, maybe if the juice gets in, it would favour Edwardstone more, but I do think Nube Negra is probably the better horse.
Yeah, no, I think Nube Negra is, and I think better ground would be an issue. Obviously, beat run some nice races on soft. Actually, beat Altior in the Desert Orchid on soft, and ran another race and won by 8 lengths on soft. So I'm sure if it went soft or good to soft, Nube Negra wouldn't be too adverse. But yeah, potentially wants that better ground, better performance.
Blunts the speed a bit. So I just think that the worse the ground, the better Edwardstone will handle it. And Edwardstone as well jumps for fun as well. So he'd be winging it round there. But it'll be a cracking race if the two of them go. But I would, like exactly like you said, I think Nube Negra should be favourite.
Harry, I thought they were potentially citing Popsy was slightly overpriced at 14s. Travel Like a Dream in the 2 Mile Webster Cup in March. Beat the now 157 rated Master McShee that day. Who saw the back end of Galloping Deschamps a couple of times last year. So I thought that horse a little bit overpriced. Now with David Pipe, was with Jessica Harrington. I don't know what you thought, but what did you make of this race? Just very quickly.
Yeah, if I'm going to be totally honest, lads, I think you're disrespecting Edward Stone a little bit.
He goes for the favourite, lads. He just backs favourites at the moment, honestly.
No, listen, I mean, I'm being serious. That 4.5 lengths behind Gentleman to me after a long season. I think that form is going to read better than his Arkle form. I just think it will, because I think Gentleman to me is a genuine.
Unfortunately, I have to go against the grain. I don't.
I think like Harry says, it was a long season, so that's what caught up with him. He's only beaten 4 lengths.
Yeah, he was only beaten 4 lengths, and he looked beaten 2 out. And do you know what I mean? And credit to the horse; it shows its horse's resilience. I love the horse to bits. I think, he tipped up at Warwick. He tipped up at Warwick, I think, first time out over fences. But he was really unlucky doing so. Then bolted in after the race after, and you've seen what the horse went on to do last year. You can't take anything away from the horse. He can only beat what's in front of him. You might say he won a weak Arkle, but listen, he won the Arkle as he liked. He nearly got impeded when I think Charlie Deutsch came down from one of his horses jumping the second. Riviere de Tel jumped into him, jumping 2 out. Yeah, it was mental. And listen, I think this horse is Nube Negra, as Lee mentioned, beat Politolog, put the kettle on, didn't fire at all last year. I don't think that form is good enough.
Do you think that the right favourites in that way?
Yeah, I do think they are. And I think Sergeant Potsy, as Ash mentioned, is very overpriced, because that wind surgery seemed to do an absolute dream last time at Ayr, and that horse just bolted home. Yes, you'd expect a 2 to 7 favourite to win by 18 lengths.
It was a non-race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't, but you can't ask for much more, can you, really? And David Pipe is flying, so I think that horse is overpriced. If you seen Editor Dujit's in there as well, which is, I don't think that horse will be going. So I think 14s could cut up for Sergeant Potsy if you fancy that horse, but yeah, I think Edward Stone will win this, to be fair.
We'll quickly move on to the Greatwood. We'll keep time short now. Do any of you have any fancies for the Greatwood Hurdle? Obviously won by West Cork last year. The horse turns up again this year for a higher mark. Harry, do you have one at this early stage?
Yeah, I do. And she was unlucky last time. I know you're all going to see. It's Nina. No. She's out. Listen, lads, I promise you, she is better than 131. I promise you that she is better than that. She's off 11.3. Now, there's going to be some plot job in this. It's going to take an absolute plot. But I have backed at 14s. She is 12s now. A little bit of value.
You've got the 2 points of value. Eat it all up. Have it all.
I mentioned my case regarding the Weatherby run, and I think I do think she was unlucky. She might not have won. She'd have been closer than people were saying, but I think she is overpriced, and for that reason, off 131, she is better than that mark. I promise you that.
Lee, please give me a horse that can actually win the race.
I've backed Nina the Terrier.
Yeah, come on, Lee.
Look, no, she was 25. She's into 12s now. No, I haven't had too much on, but look, I just think she's better than this mark. She was behind Sonagino, who come out and won the next day, and I think she was unlucky. I think she would have went close, but I think the 2 ahead of her. We backed the other 2, Martello Sky and what was the skeleton?
Molly Dolly's. Yeah.
Molly Dolly's wishes. Them 2 I think were stayers, so they would have outbattled her, to be honest. But she was travelling well. She had a lot of ground to make up, and I just think a strong run race like the Greatwood will suit her. I think she was overpriced. Maybe she's at 12s now. She's getting a bit skinny. But yeah, she actually ran in the mare's novice race last season. She wasn't beating a million miles, but she had tweed skirting behind. That horse come out and bolted up. I think it was yesterday. She was just behind like Party Central.
Sabrina was in there.
Yeah, a few good horses were just ahead of her. Dino Blue and stuff like that. What I had wrote down, she stays further. She won't mind a bit cut, and a strong pace will suit. So I thought she was the one. Disappointing for you, Ash. I'm afraid that I've went with Nina. But no, I think Gin Coco as well is another one. But
yeah, I agree. I really agree.
I think like the form lines from the last run is really strong. I keep saying horses come out and frank the form from different horses. We're second in a big handicap there at Punchestown, and bolted up last time out. So if that one does take a chance, I think it might be in the Supreme Trail as well. So
let's have a look. I've got the page right now. Yeah, it's in the Supreme Trail 8-1.
Yeah, just have to watch them double entries. But Gin Coco would be one at an early stage, but I do like Nina the Terrier at a price.
What price have you backed her up?
Me?
Yeah, did you say you backed her 25?
14s, not.
Oh,
I think she's in at 12. No, I wish. I actually looked at that the other day, and I thought 25s, and same with that Music Drive. I thought 7s is overpriced, but yeah, just missed.
You should have told me this earlier on in the week. When you seen her at 25s, I would have gone ballistic.
I don't know if I think she might have been 20s when I looked, but she had 25s next to her name, so maybe it's just cut. But yeah, it's a big price. It's just you take the risk going forward. Obviously, it's a few days before. People often message on Twitter and ask where I get some of the prices from. I actually do bet with Coral on a Thursday, and they are best odds for Saturday races and stuff. So like Last Decks, they are actually best odds a few days before. So it's worth maybe doing it that way. But that's how I bet anyway.
I've got a question for Ash.
Oh no.
Regarding this race, West Cork is in there at 14-1. And also there's another horse I want you to give a little mention to. Whether this could be a horse that you've backed or you're going to put up, but Harbour Lake for Alan King was a nice horse last year. Won beating Big Bad Bear last time out. Had solid RPRs.
Yeah,
and
really
20-1. At 20-1, that could be a nice price. What do you think?
No, definitely. The Harbour Lake I had a little interest in because I think very sort of unexposed out of the lineup. Obviously, won 4 times, was brought down in a race that won by LA Bell last year, but 4 from 5 reached really good. You know, nice speed about this horse. And you know the Greatwood trip, what 2 miles? That should be perfect around Cheltenham. You just hope it hasn't hit his ceiling. Like the RPR there last day was 134, goes up 135 today. Been steadily progressing. These horses have to stop at some point, you know. And if his horse keeps going, then it could be really nice. But this horse has to stop, and he's coming back. He had a nice little pipe opener last time, so this would be ready for the race. But it's just whether he's hit a ceiling and a nice big handicap. And as he ran the big handicap before, he hasn't run any big handicaps. He's only running a 13-winner novice hurdle. So it's whether horses deal with that one. And West Cork, lovely horse. You have to say, first of all, was it going to go? Obviously, went chasing and was like absolute years behind stage stars. So maybe chasing still on the agenda, or maybe they've sat that in already. But it's a high mark now. What was it? Off 142. Yeah. Won this race off 134, and just did enough to get past Adagio that day. So you may be looking at a lower mark there. So it was not 2 horses I had an early interest in. One I had a really big interest in is a horse I've backed before, actually. Before my phone dies, fingers crossed it doesn't. Is A Different Kind for Donald McCain. Really like this horse. I backed it at Cheltenham when North Lodge won the race. Balco Coastal was in second. I'm convinced if they hadn't doled out the last 2 hurdles, because the last hurdle was coming down the hill, I'm convinced it would have won if the hurdles were there. Honestly, I like to compare horses to I think the best hurdler I've ever seen, Bouvardere. And I'm not saying this horse was like Bouvardere, but it was very much
Carol Bouvardere.
just shoehorn them in. No, I really liked how he took his hurdle, just sort of like glided over them. It was lovely, and I'm convinced he would have won the race. But then North Lodge, so Balco Coastal came out and finished 3rd behind Langadan at Aintree, and North Lodge has come out and finished, I want to say 3rd behind Free Stripe Life at Aintree as well. So that's form franking there. I really was interested in A Different Kind there for Donald McCain. If not, I like Gin Coco, but I think the ground might be a bit too soft for it. So if it doesn't rain now and it goes on sort of the faster side of good to soft, maybe good to soft in places, that should be fine for Gin Coco, because I think Harry Fry thinks quite a lot of this horse. So yeah, that would be my little early look at the Greatwood Hurdle. That's all to cover, gentlemen, if I'm correct. Any bit of housekeeping before we go, Lee?
Just want to say we've got a competition which will be starting tomorrow. So we ran one last week from Racing Tees. You can find them on Twitter, and they've got a website as well. So we've got a competition for a new T-shirt. and we'll announce the winner on Saturday live, which is 10:30 this Saturday. And also, I've just got a competition on Twitter as well. A few racing merchandise there, and there's the first edition of the Racing Post. Actually, I managed to someone give us the first edition, 25 pence back in the day it was. But just a bit racing merch there, and I'll do a competition. It's £5 to donate to the People's Kitchen. It's their Christmas appeal. It means homeless people get a Christmas dinner, a place to shelter, cups of teas, all that stuff for £5. So if you screenshot your £5 donation, all the link is on my racing site there. So at Racing Lee 1, and donate £5. You get entered into the competition. Then I'll draw it on the 1st of December. But keep an eye out for Racing Tees as well. And they are kindly donating some of our Only Fools Love Horses t-shirts, caps, and all stuff like that as well.
No, it's a fantastic cause. So if you are going to spend £5 in this Christmas time, please do think about the giveaway that leads there. You could win some nice prizes, and you're helping someone out on the other end of it as well. That's all we had time to cover. We will be doing these weekly, so obviously it's the first one. Thank you to everyone who tuned in live, and this video will be live on our YouTube channel as well to watch as a pre-recording. That'll be on the YouTube channel if you're already watching here. So on this channel now, if you did enjoy, yes.
I was just going to say, I've had Willie Mullins on the phone. He did say, get stuck into the YouTube channel. He said, GSI, subscribe to Only Fools Love Horses. Yeah.
Well, if Willie Mullins says it, you really have to then, surely. That's the giveaway, surely. No, please do like and subscribe. It says that at the bottom of the screen. All of your feedback is greatly appreciated. We're going back into the YouTube game, so any like, any subscription, any comment, I'll reply to every single comment that you put down there, as long as it's nice. Unless it's having a go at my angle, then that's fair enough. No, thank you very much for listening. Fingers crossed we found a couple of winners, and we've guided you through your bets for the rest of the week. Do please like and subscribe, and have a good Cheltenham. Speak to you on Saturday, 10:30, live on Twitter.